welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin DeClue.
And...
oh my God!
Sorry, Colin Cunningham.
And if you don't know by that, we're doing Suburban Sasquatch today. This was a patron pick from our Bad Movie Lottery. One of our Patreon members get to pick a movie, and the winner was Dylan Birch, and he said Suburban Sasquatch.
Why does winning the lottery always feel like losing when it's these contests?
Hey, this is a great movie.
I feel bad for any of our listeners who are like, oh, I got picked. They're just going to make fun of whatever pick that I do. So I'm going to tell you, Dylan, I love Suburban Sasquatch.
Yeah. Yes, but we are going to make fun of it.
Oh, of course. And by make fun, I mean appreciate its beautiful values.
I had realized, and this has been done so much, I think I've probably watched so many video reviews on this that it feels like I'd seen the entire movie. But I realized I have not watched this movie all the way through.
It's possible I did and forgot.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I watched it on YouTube, but I honestly get this confused with Lichen Colony a lot.
Yeah, but I feel like the last half hour or 40 minutes is the least discussed part of the movie.
Yeah, and I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, I didn't remember any of it.
Well, we'll get to it,
Yeah.
but we have discussed this filmmaker before because we did Fungicide.
Or Fungicide.
Fungicide not too long ago. What is his name?
David Wascavage.
Right, David Wascavage.
Savage.
Wask.
Sorry, never heard that one before.
I'm pretty sure this is his most popular movie. It's been talked about many times by many other people, and it's I guess you could call it a monster movie.
Yeah, but
I guess you could call it. It is definitely a monster movie.
All right.
Who's the real monster though?
Is it man?
This is 2004. This is after Fungicide, and having seen Fungicide, I was shocked at how serious this movie is. Serious it takes itself.
Apparently, his movies just get more and more serious. This is at least kind of in between. You can't be in this and not at least know what it is. But the people in it are playing it pretty straight.
Fungicide was fun. They had the tone right, and he's probably all right, I did the comedic shit. Let's talk the real serious threat. Sasquatches.
Yeah, actually, and when you hear him talk about the movie, because he had access to some special features on this, and he's just going into minute detail
serious
about this CGI tree he made that looks terrible, and he's just so I just did this, and I took this model, and now if you use
so when he
this
talks
lighting,
about his movie,
does
is he seem to be beamed in from another dimension?
Yes.
Okay.
He's so serious. He's talking about the design of the costume, Suburban Sasquatch costume.
I'll talk about that when I get to my favorite thing, but that will be for an hour and 40 minutes, which is the length of this movie. Why is it so long?
It's so long.
I was like, this has to be a mistake.
And again, this felt like the Batman. It's
are the bloops at the end of the movie
it gets to a certain point, and you're like, okay, it's wrapping up, and you're like, no, there's another 30 minutes.
And then and it's a horribly boring last 15 to 20
And this is
minutes.
a film with no rising action, really, because it's the same thing over and over and over again.
It's random Sasquatch attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have our main characters who are just doing the same thing and essentially having the same conversation the entire movie.
But let's jump at the beginning, and we get the money right up front with a sequence that I feel took 2 weeks to render of the credits on trees.
Yeah, this is David Wascavage, he dabbles in visual effects, computer graphics. This scene, there is a special features on the DVD where he talks about, April just said he talks about making this scene. It's really funny because he's talking about, obviously he knows what CG is because he does it, but the terminology he's using are not CGI terminology at all.
Well, so it's clearly he was self-taught, the software.
Yeah, and he doesn't understand what things are called. So he's like, I built the skeletal outline of the tree. And nobody talks like that.
Wireframe?
It's a wireframe. It's very strange. It would be
it's what they call it where he's from.
Your mom coming in to describe something.
And I know that, Dave, it probably took very long to do this opening credit sequence, but it does look like the pre-rendered templates you would get on Vegas video.
Yeah, for sure. And you just swap out the text.
Yeah, you just swap out the text.
A shitty Flash video game that you would get for free on the internet on E-Bombs World or something.
Yeah, as we make fun of these visual effects, we should all remember this is 2004 and his computer is doing this stuff. So like,
yeah.
true.
Well, it's funny. The opening looks like, you remember how they used to have animated menus on DVDs?
yes, that's exactly where it's like, I'm going into Professor X's Cerebro.
Everybody always remembers Cerebro,
Yeah,
but
because
I remember that
It took so damn long to get from menu to menu.
Yeah.
He's like,
doors open.
the door's open.
Let me just see the Terminator or Memento. It's like, I don't want to solve another riddle to watch the movie.
Play a mini game to like get to a special. Oh, if you go to like, if you do a certain like button click, a little like question mark will show up in the corner.
Do you think if we hit certain
fun.
buttons while we're watching this, like Sasquatch will come crashing through your window? It's like, I've summoned him like Candyman. Can
David
we start
Wascavage.
right off the bat that it's really funny this film is called Suburban Sasquatch and it takes place mostly in the woods?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think
Dave knows what suburbia is.
Suburbia is in it, but not for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Because they have to shoot in the woods because you can't
nobody's
shoot
there.
on people's lawns. You know, they're like, oh, this new subdivision is
they
opening
shoot
up.
they shoot on people's lawns in this movie.
Yeah,
half
they
this
do
movie takes place on people's front lawns.
I was going to say that I was very impressed at the beginning where, it's in the woods and it's nighttime. And I'm like, is there any night in this movie?
There is
and then it cuts
not.
to the next scene. And I'm like, day for night. Here we
Yeah.
are. This is
He
night.
didn't have lights, obviously.
Yeah.
The
There's
day
a
for
few
night
shots near
oh.
the end that it's dark, but probably because they were running out of time when they were shooting.
Yeah, but when they're in the house, that
Yes.
yeah. So that was night.
Well, you can
tell.
use like natural, kind of lights inside
Lamps.
the house and stuff. Yeah. Like
And our first
Granny's
introduction
lamps.
to characters are two teens driving down the street. One of them has an awesome bead necklace. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool dude.
It's very of the time.
Yeah, it is. It's day for night, but the car is moving very, very slowly down the road.
It's like the most unconvincing day for night you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really bad. Especially like later on, there's like a cop shot where everything is just clipped.
It's just clipped
because it's
and
so bright
blue.
outside, and then when you
Yeah.
dim it down, it just turns into this kind of gray mush, which looks
Yeah.
really gross. But this is funny.
But these guys, they don't matter. They just stop on the street because the Bigfoot, has to be one of cinema's best Bigfoots. He has so many powers. He loves
Yeah.
to run around. He's always like cutting in front of the camera. He can teleport.
He can teleport,
and he does
can
teleport
control-
on screen.
Oh yeah, constantly, and then he can control your mind.
Cause delusions.
Yeah, he can
somehow.
make you fall asleep or something, and then
And
he can
in
carry
this
you to his
scene,
cave.
he's so powerful that when he attacks the guy that was driving the car with the bead necklace,
Yeah.
just bones start flying all over the place.
Yeah. So what's funny about this movie is that we mentioned there's bad CGI, but there's also bad practical effects. So it's like a perfect marriage of like
I don't know, that
Halloween
one
store like
Halloween
arms.
store arm that they keep using. It seems
Yeah.
pretty good to me.
Yeah,
and then,
I don't know if
fake
it's a perfect
blood
marriage.
flies
It's more
out.
like Marriage Story.
Like punching the wall, like the Bigfoot's punching the wall.
Sorry, I meant CGI blood because I don't think there's any real fake blood. in
Oh,
this,
there's
is
no
there?
real fake blood in this
No,
movie. I don't
yeah,
think
and you
so.
get the sound effects again are fantastic.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
knows.
So Bigfoot shows up here, and we did it at the beginning of the episode. It's the same sound effect recycled over and over again. It's
I
like
don't
a
even
car
know what it-
starting.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't sound like organic. It's not a roar. It's just.
And it sounds all like modulated almost.
Yeah, it's very strange. But
Yeah,
man,
I hope Dave is like, it's actually like 10 sound effects mixed together. Me on the can.
Perfect.
Me screaming for my girlfriend.
my cat when I'm rubbing its belly.
I
Yeah.
took some seal noises that I found online.
Not the animal, the actual singer seal.
Where do you think I got these scars? I fought wolves before. That's a joke from Popstar. Yeah.
I was like, is that really how you?
I fought Bigfoots. So we also have a CGI bird right after these two teens get killed.
Constantly, yeah. That seems to be the.
I
this
escaped
is-
from Birdemic.
No, it's like Eagly from
Yes.
Peacemaker.
I gotta say, looked a little better than the Birdemic bird.
Yeah, definitely.
Just saying.
And then
Give him some credit, guys.
We're introduced to two characters that I'm gonna be a little suspicious of the portrayal of indigenous people in this.
Yeah, I think the grandfather is full on white. He looks
Like
like
just
Paul
this white guy
Sorvino.
who like gelled his hair back.
Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
like Paul Sorvino, and he's like he's sitting in a field. I guess this is David Wascavage's vision of what natives do. He looks
in
like
the middle of a park.
he's wearing like a bed sheet or something over him. And then there's like a fire going in like a field. And they're aware of the suburban Sasquatch.
And they're doing, I guess, a ceremony to send it away? Is that what's happening?
They know that it's I don't know, it showed up again or something.
Well, she says many, many times in this movie that it is her duty, it is her life's purpose to rid the world of suburban Sasquatches.
I was a little disappointed to see this actress, which I wrote as just Arrow Woman in my notes throughout.
Yeah, I forget her name.
She only acted in this, and then she's like, I've done everything I need to do.
Well, I figured she's so beautiful. Like, she can't just be a friend.
She was a model. She was it says trivia on IMDb, a model for Fiji Water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
So, yeah.
She's the best actor in the movie, I have to
and
say.
And she sucks.
Yeah. How dare you?
What are you talking about? Like, when we cut to the next scene. She's the Gal Gadot
of the movie.
Oh, she is definitely the Gal Gadot of the movie.
I could not stop thinking of Wonder Woman 2 because all she does is talk in these like platitudes over and over, which is exactly what Gal Gadot does. And
we just
it's
need
like
to love.
Yeah.
And like, we just need to destroy the Sasquatch. I wish I could have a different life, but I can't. This is my duty. I have to do it for my tribes people. It just goes on and on and on.
Let's all sing Imagine.
So in the next scene, we're introduced to our hero, who is the most uncharismatic hero you could get.
He is like the schlubbiest looking protagonist.
And I love that he wakes up in what clearly looks like a college dorm room. It's like a bed sheets over the window, the box frame is on the ground. There's like
he honestly comes off as an older guy that seems to be playing a much younger character, so it just feels off.
And he wears the biggest shirts I've ever seen in a movie.
He and Kevin Smith shop at the same place.
I'd say it was the style at the time, but it ain't the 90s anymore.
It was not. His like he looks like a bigger guy, but his shirts are like 3 sizes too big for him.
He's got like a dad bod, as they would say
but
now.
They hang so low.
And he's so
It's because he's going to catch the suburban Sasquatch and he'll throw it over the Sasquatch's head.
He looks like he should be wearing a baseball hat.
Yeah.
Because guys like with a hair.
Like backwards.
Well,
yeah, because he's kind of balding. Like, I'm Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
He's really balding.
Yeah, so and then, how dare they hook him up with this native woman, as a love interest.
And
Give me a break.
I ran to IMDb to see if this was the director playing this role. I was shocked it was not.
No, remember we saw him in Fungicide.
Was he really?
Yeah, didn't he play like the lawyer or something?
Maybe.
I can't remember, but he was in Fungicide as a main character.
Well, so is one of the cops that we meet when they're investigating the crime scene.
We go to the crime scene next because our hero, the reporter, shows up. And like every crime scene, they only find this one Halloween arm that you get.
Even though we saw like the arm become a bone at one point, you never see. Yeah, you never see that bone. But these cops, and one of them I think again was in Fungicide, the bigger guy,
the guy with the tribal tattoo.
Yeah, I think he was the wrestler.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their costumes obviously homemade.
Yeah, some pretty poor homemade costumes.
It's like, we got to act on this. What if there's a bear loose? Ripping people's arms off.
Yeah, they just have like tape like on their like pockets to try and make it look like police.
And like every crime scene, there's nobody around. This is in the middle of nowhere. There's no extras in this movie whatsoever.
It's in Pennsylvania. There's not many people around. And then we cut to, as we do every second scene, Suburban Sasquatch attack. This has to be one of the best ones in the movie. I remember editing it into a montage. And it's like 2 guys fishing like 30 feet away from each other.
I think one of them is David Wascavage.
I think the guy
who dies.
The guy who the arm flies at him and he goes into the water. I think that is.
No, he's the guy that comes back.
I think it's David Wascavage. I think.
Is that him?
The other guy is definitely not a director by the looks of him. The guy who was drinking the beer.
And we're introduced here to the fact that Suburban Sasquatch, he just smells bad. Characters are constantly like, you smell something? Oh, next time you sit downwind from me.
Yeah, great lines. Right?
Yeah, he kind of comes out of nowhere and attacks this guy, rips his arm off.
And he keeps cutting the other guy going like, hey! Hey!
And then he throws the arm at the other guy and it knocks him out.
Into the water and he floats away downstream. Suburban Sasquatch, Very large feet, not much bigger than the other actors.
No, well, I mean, the movie would want you to believe a little differently later on.
I wonder if that's one of his superpowers, that he can change size.
He can change height.
Let's talk about the Suburban Sasquatch costume, if Dave makes such a big deal about it. I mean, this is like a Halloween costume. He's got big, saggy breasts.
But it seems custom made, and I think he talks in the making of about the costume designer, and it sounds like custom made almost.
It's just a fursuit with like the smallest like plastic chest part.
It's very strange. Saggy boobs.
A couple of abs and pecs, and that's it.
And I think a dick at one point. That's probably your favorite part, Justin.
I thought it was his tail.
That's not my favorite part. Unless it was wrecked.
Well, it's swinging at one point. It's just like,
wow.
yeah.
I didn't put that in the movie. Well, maybe they would.
Yeah, they would. I think he talks about it too.
Dave doesn't believe in censorship.
I wanted genitalia in this movie.
Represents something.
It feels like I would have seen way more genitalia considering how much full shot of Suburban Sasquatch we get in this.
It was one kind of shot where he's walking away from camera and you can kind of see it swinging between his legs. It's really furry. It kind of blends in with the rest of the costume.
It was probably just his arm or something.
It was not his arm. It was between his legs.
Oh, well, we got Suburban Dickgate. Is there
I'm gonna like freeze frame it and zoom in and enhance.
We need to
into the left.
Back into the left. The dick on the grassy crotch patch.
Lots of grassy knolls in this movie.
Well, now we've got our protagonist, our schlubby, totally
He goes and
journalist.
sees the reporter, and I assume what looks like
his editor.
Yeah, his editor, who's like, I don't want the Suburban Sasquatch story. You are weak. I don't have faith, and I don't believe. I sell.
Yeah, this is like the J. Jonah Jameson
who is
the
boss of a completely empty office. There's nobody else here.
And it's like a high school.
Which is a high school.
It is a high school, absolutely.
Lounge.
Yeah, if you look out the window, you can see them like the cheerleaders.
Children playing.
Yeah,
playing
and
football
it looks like it's like a high school arts and crafts class or something, because behind them there's all these sort of paintings of like a house or something that all the different like students did on the wall, and they want you to believe that this is like the headquarters of like the town's newspaper or some big
which is just no.
This editor guy is playing it like he's the editor of the New York Times or something like that.
Yeah, and like I guess Wascavage just had a friend who was a teacher. They gave him permission to film there. Fine.
Maybe Wascavage was the teacher himself.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right.
He has so much to teach everybody.
Yeah, but the thing is this conversation, which starts off our main character, whose name I don't even remember, Neil or something, his
Rick
journey,
the reporter.
Yeah, his journey is that he wants to write a story about Suburban Sasquatch, and it's gonna make him famous.
He's gonna win a Pulitzer.
He just talks about writing this article the whole movie, never writes it.
So this character is clearly supposed to be a Dave Wasserman proxy, right?
He wanted to be a filmmaker. Yeah, he does talk about.
And like people are like, "Well, you got to make money too." He's like, "I got to pay the bills too." It's like the metaphor of making something like Fungicide or Suburban Sasquatch.
Yeah, because everybody talks. He's like, "I'm going to win a Pulitzer." I think it's a Pulitzer, not a Pulitzer, but
Pulitzer.
Everybody treats him like a writer. You never see him writing anything, I don't think.
I don't recall.
And he's clearly just
what
writing.
What this movie needs at the end is like, and that's the end of that chapter. And they like close a book called Suburban Sasquatch, and he's like signing it somewhere. Wait, isn't that how Fungicide ends? It does.
Yeah. No,
that's right.
It ends with them writing a book about their experience.
No, but they're at the book signing.
At the book signing.
Yeah. That's right. It should.
I was like, the whole movie wasn't.
Are these movies all based on real life experiences that the director has had?
Real life dreams.
Wait till you see Tartarus, then.
Oh no. Ooh, let's not.
It's about a guy that goes to hell.
Well, okay. Now this is the first or the second of the random Sasquatch attacks,
which are the highlights of the movie.
The attack that followed this, where I'm like, is Sasquatch like? He has some real breathing problems because he's like.
Well, the more heavy set cop guy is in the costume.
I think like six people play like the Suburban Sasquatch.
Sometimes it's Dave Wascavage. Sometimes it's this guy. This guy's kind of beefy. So
now this is really funny because I rewatched this scene today just to jot down some notes, and I noticed some things that I did not see the first few times. But this kid is playing soccer in his front lawn. And Suburban Sasquatch is kind of sneaking up on the kid from the background. And you can see that Suburban Sasquatch's costume is missing the feet. So I don't know if they were using the feet.
He normally has feet, right?
Gigantic, like Bigfoot
The second
feet.
unit was like shooting stuff with the feet, I guess.
Well, there are some shots of just the feet on the ground, like stepping on the ground, that you can tell that nobody's in the costume. It's just like a foot prop that they have. So I'm suspicious. I believe that maybe they were using them or they forgot them that day or something. But Suburban Sasquatch is sneaking up on the kid, and you can see that he's just wearing like dark shoes, like running shoes. And at one point, so the kid runs into his mom, and he's like, there's like a monster outside. And she's like, oh, Billy. And she like shoves him out the front door again, like, get out there.
Doesn't believe him.
Sasquatch attacks. The mom runs out with like a broom and starts like attacking the Sasquatch. He like beats her up and swats at her as the kid is watching.
And this is one of those things where the Sasquatch is supposed to look 10 feet tall because like the lady's on her knees and the Sasquatch is standing on an apple box.
Yeah, there's like a profile shot of the both.
And I was like, is the lady just supposed to be very short, like 3 feet tall?
And he's clearly standing on a stool or something.
Movie
so
magic.
There is a shot of the Sasquatch, multiple shots of him dragging off the woman as the kid is like watching in terror. And I'm like, there's something really weird about the Sasquatch's feet. Like how is he moving here? He's like sliding. He CGI'd feet in to cover up the fact that it's wearing tennis shoes.
Yeah.
So he's got really
brilliant.
Go in and rewatch the scene.
It's
so
morning.
funny, and it's so badly tracked in. It's just like
It looks like MS Paint.
Yeah, it looks like a kind of lump of like black polygons
that
to make it
took 2
look.
weeks to render.
It's so funny, and it's so badly tracked in. So it's like swimming all over the ground. This like foot that doesn't even connect up to like the rest of the suit.
Well, the thing is, he had to come up with a creative solution.
I guess.
I understand, but how can you look at that and be like,
just like
yep.
crop the shot, like to make sure,
or cut that shot.
Yeah, I think
know?
it's too wide, and then he realized it in editing. Like, oh crap, you see the shoes.
Yeah.
God damn it! But it's so funny. But hey, you know, as a director, Justin, you know this. You got to come up with some creative solutions.
Things go wrong.
I would just cut the shot. Like I wouldn't comp in. Like the movie's an hour and 40. You can lose some shots.
Oh, you
could
lose
lose an entire sequence of Sasquatch attacks. Not that I would suggest you do that.
Or you could lose the reporter going back to another murder scene where the same arm is still laying there.
Yeah, and the cops are like, "Get out of here!" You know, we don't want reporters.
Yeah, so now the fisherman that we saw in the previous scene where he floats downriver, he awakens and I don't know, he like hears a noise from a cave. I guess he finds like the Sasquatch's den.
Yes, it's den.
So this is a really weird shot again with the CGI. I guess he could film the outside of the cave, but he couldn't go inside. So he has like a kind of POV of the guy that's all CG.
Because that's not really a cave.
It's not really a cave.
It's like a tiny hole.
Yeah. So a POV of him going inside the cave. So you see all these CGI rocks, and then you see the woman, the mom, I guess. But he's like rendered it on this sort of plane or like flat plane, but has forgotten to turn off the glossiness. So it's very shiny, and it looks like the mom is encased in ice for some reason.
Oh, God.
And I was like, wait, did the Sasquatch freeze her? And then it cuts, and no, she's just in the cave, like tied up or something like that.
These are the confusing things that happen during this movie. Choices that make you question the reality of this world.
Yeah, it's very strange. And the inside of the cave, by the way, it's crinkly garbage bags, black garbage
Love
bags.
it. I mean, it's definitely Dave's garage or basement.
Absolutely.
That's where you would shoot something like that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's a classic.
We also get another attack of 2 women who are just drinking while they're walking through the woods. I really enjoy how much Suburban Sasquatch is constantly ripping people's arms and legs off and beating them with it.
Oh yeah, it's like he really enjoys like tearing these people apart. It's great.
I mean, it's a Sasquatch, right? So he's only got so many moves that we see over and over and over again.
Well, he kind of mimes like eating them, but he can't. Yeah,
with just like that really crunchy sound effect.
Yeah.
And at one point, he like takes the woman, attacks her by a car, and starts eating her in broad daylight by the car. And then I think it cuts back, and she's completely gone. She's like faded away.
Ate all of her. That's why.
And then later they go to the crime scene, and she's back.
Yeah, I think so. It's very strange. But then the
as can cause illusions.
Yeah, as the that's what David Wascavage says probably. Is she missing? I don't know. But then the native woman shows up. She's tracking down and then shoots, which is one of my favorite things, is the CGI arrows.
Blood shoot that like shoots out of, the CGI arrow.
Yeah, the CGI arrows with the geyser of blood and then that horrible sound effect like.
And again, She shows up to these scenes. She shoots him in the same place every time, by the way. I think she's going for the heart and she just keeps missing, I guess. And he goes, ah! And then he runs away or disappears. And this happens like 5 times. But yeah, I guess she's going for the heart and she doesn't get there until, I guess, the very end.
Yeah.
She also has those 2 little
tomahawks.
hatchets that she
like the CGI tomahawks that she pulls out. But I don't understand like why. I can see firing CGI arrows, into and sticking into the Sasquatch, but when she's like notching it up, it's CGI. It's like just
it is.
Yeah, it's always CGI for some reason.
It's to continue the realism of the sequence.
Just have like a real arrow and she's notching it, and then cut to like a CGI arrow like flying out. I don't know.
Very odd choices.
Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
I'm not David Wascavage.
They forgot it in the car. That's why I had to see them. Same thing with the feet. It happens.
Just like later when there's a CGI net on the Sasquatch.
Tiny little net.
I think they forgot the net.
The next scene that we get, though, is a real pulse pounder where the reporter goes and visits. I don't know who it is.
It's like his real estate agent friend.
Grandma.
In a completely empty restaurant.
Again.
Scene, yeah.
And it's really funny because his real estate agent talks to him for 2 minutes and then leaves.
And he doesn't even finish his beer.
Their beers are both full.
Yeah. And he's basically like, you got to make money, bro.
It's a hustle and bustle, world of Dave Wasserman. It's get up and go. And also, you got to make money. You can't continue making these Suburban Sasquatch movies.
And he's like, yeah, you're not going to win a Pulitzer, man. Just like go into real estate like me.
I mean, it does have a self-awareness to it. And I think that it also has this like half-assed environmental message that they're kind of saying, but not really. Because of this new suburban development, maybe that's why the Sasquatch is showing up.
But on the sign, it's called the Suburban something, blah, blah, blah. So maybe it's implied that the Sasquatch just, I don't know, hunts in this area or something, or it's because of the development that he's showing up.
Yeah.
But they never really go into it very much.
No, it's not explained.
I don't know.
You need to get the Suburban Sasquatch Decoded book to really understand this. Self-published by Dave Wasserman Publications.
It's Wascavage.
Wascavage, sorry.
Wascavage. Maybe there's a commentary that we could listen to.
There's got to be one on the DVD.
It's like so dry and serious.
Find out why.
I wonder if there's still official DVDs of this floating around, because this is one that was banished to those like 50 packs.
Yeah.
I don't know if official.
It's on Tubi.
It is on Tubi, yeah. So you
watch
it
is there
on
commentary?
No.
Or is Tubi like Disney Plus, and they're not giving us the special features we demand? I think Tubi is owned by Fox, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
We talked about that before when the Tucker Carlson ads come up in between like movies. They're like, oh my God, what's happening?
It's like, we love Tubi. And we're giving money to Fox to like continue their news stuff.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, oh man. Okay, so there's a little scene where one of the cops, like, again, investigating the crime, and gives the journalist a gun.
Yeah.
You need something to defend yourself.
He's like, you're going to need this to defend yourself. And the journalist is like taking pictures of the hiker's remains, but he's got like it's like a vacation cam, like a point and click. It's not even like a proper.
Very official.
I don't know.
He's really hard up. He probably doesn't even have a pen to write his stories. That's why he hasn't written.
He hasn't been able to write because he doesn't have any paper. Listen, there's some shortages going on right now
He's
all
living
over the
in
world.
A college dorm.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. This is the police car attack.
That one's pretty good. Honestly, like we could rank all the suburban attacks, and they're all
Our
great.
top 10.
Suburban Sasquatch.
There's at least 10 of them in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of the classic ones where it's like the cop is in the car, the little cop. There's like a big cop and a little cop. Little cop, by the way, in one of the scenes, you get a wide shot of him. He's wearing gigantic boots. And I think it's because he's really short. But
they're lifts. But both the cops are not very tall.
They're not, but he's the shorter of the two. But my God, they're like it looks like a child, and like he's wearing dad's boots or something like that.
Is that the guy that ended up being in Tartarus?
I don't know.
Is one of them supposed to be the son of the other cop? Because of course Warden yells, "Dad!" at the end. I like rewinded it to see. Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Maybe his name is Dave or something like that.
They look like they're like 3 years apart.
No,
that
can't be right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, this is another horrible day for night scene.
Yeah,
right?
little cop is in the police car, and the police car is so blown out because it's a sunny day when they shot it, and then they dimmed it down, and it's just like this sort of gray mush. And the Suburban Sasquatch, emerges. It's like a wrestling match where he comes out of the smoke machine like, yeah, the Undertaker is entering the ring.
Do have smoke.
It's like Kid Rock or something like that.
Yeah, they did have like a little bit of a musical score here and there, kind of just like your average like.
Oh, the Suburban Sasquatch is coming down.
It's the most illegal move in wrestling.
Oh my God, he's grabbing the chair,
pulling his arms off. That's the most illegal.
He kind of waddles out of the smoke machine, and then he's kind of like fading in front of the car. I guess like he's using his teleport moves. I'd be teleporting all over the place. I wouldn't even bother watching, if I had walking if I had that ability.
Especially if you had big Sasquatch feet, it might be hard to walk.
Yeah,
but you don't have big Sasquatch feet. All you got is sneakers.
Yeah,
So
it just CGI.
Yeah, he just CGI them on afterwards. It looks like those bear slippers that you wear.
Yes,
that I used to have when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. That's cute.
They look like bear claws.
The cop car, this is the one where he just shakes the car, right?
He picks it up over his head.
And it's like a JPEG of the car.
Yeah, it turns into like a 2D cop car.
Flat. It becomes perfectly flat.
Good. I appreciate that. He's like, in his mind, he's picturing like this amazing action scene. And he's like, oh shit, how am I actually going to do this? I'll just take a picture. But he won't, he could like lift it up sideways so it's still kind of facing the camera and looks, he's not giving it away.
He didn't think of doing that.
No, he kind of lifts it up and you can totally see that it's just like a 2D plane. And he throws it and then it turns back into a cop car. The cop survives, by the way.
Yeah, no bloodshed in the scene.
Suburban Sasquatch runs away, I guess, or teleports away.
Because Suburban Sasquatch believes Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the main cop. The big cop's back at the cop station, which, I don't know, looks like a post office. Or
he was like radioing him like,
it's
what's
probably
going
the
on?
school. Like they probably shot it all in one location.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's definitely not a police station.
Well, there is a plaque on the wall, and it brings me back to like Matchstick Flame.
I was just thinking that because it looks like that.
Guys, we're not allowed to legally talk about that movie.
Yeah, they might sue us again. Or threaten to sue us.
Again.
Oh, God. So this cop survives, and then it cuts back to the big cop back at the station, and he pulls out, a picture of his wife or a girl, you don't know.
Yeah, and he's
sort of
like,
hinting at he's got history.
Baby.
He's got history with the Sasquatch,
which is stupid.
But we won't learn it yet because first we need to meet a sassy grandma.
Yeah, so main character goes and visits his grandma, who
we're missing an attack scene, but it doesn't matter. They're all the same.
Was it the car one?
No, it's like some lady.
No, it's just a woman comes out and like Bigfoot is throwing CGI bags of something around.
I think it's like CGI rocks or something.
And it's supposed to be Halloween too because there's the jack-o'-lantern on the porch.
At least they
and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I think he rips her arms off and like beats her with it.
I don't know.
Like that.
It's something.
Oh, and then the arrow woman shows up and the Bigfoot teleports away.
Yeah, runs
That's
away.
What I wrote.
It's like rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, he visits his grandma, which turns out that it's David Wascavich's mother.
Mom,
I think.
Yeah, she was not terrible.
Yeah, she was all right.
But she's like speaking in weird riddles. She's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, I guess he found like an arrowhead with a jewel on it, which I think was the native lady's like arrowhead or something like that, left over from one of the times where she shot the Sasquatch. And then the mom seems to recognize it or something like, oh, yes, blah, blah, blah. God will lead you on your quest for a
she's
Pulitzer.
kind of pushing her Christian propaganda on him.
She has a great ending line where she's like, "Remember, I don't like you." And her son's like, "Right, you love me."
Yeah, I very sweet.
Mm-hmm. And then, clearly, what's not sweet? The Bigfoot killing a dog.
Ripping it in
two.
Yeah, not cool with this, but it was a very good use of a stuffed animal.
Completely. Yeah, this guy's wandering around the neighborhood yelling for his dog, but again, the neighborhood completely empty. Mm-hmm. Like, where are all the people?
Wasn't he
They've been killed by the Suburban Sasquatch. I think it's fairly clear, Colin.
Yeah. And the Sasquatch picks up this little dog and then cut to stuffed dog. And he just rips it apart.
He rips it apart.
What if it had been like a CGI dog that gets ripped apart?
Yeah.
Isn't he like drinking the blood from the dog?
Yeah.
So, is the Suburban Sasquatch like stealing people's souls?
I don't know.
Because Arrow Woman is like touching his victims, and there's a white light that appears around them.
Really?
I don't even remember that.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that does happen. I mean, this movie's overstuffed. It's tough to keep track of all of it. The dog owner, I mean, in a realistic reaction, is like, no!
I mean, I can relate to that.
And I think
Wait,
it just...
did the dog then, like, I mean, Bigfoot was a real jackass. He would have, like, stuffed the dead dog in the guy's mouth.
Yeah. He starts...
Doesn't he stuff someone's intestines in someone else's mouth?
I think so, like a heart or something like
Yeah.
that. It might have been the fisherman.
I think it was the guy, the women in the woods. Who knows?
Maybe,
It's all blending together.
Like squats and starts taking a dump on. He's like,
oh god,
teabagging the guy's corpse.
Yeah, that's when you see Bigfoot's dick in the deleted scene where he teabags the guy. He's just flopping around.
I think he just steps on the guy's chest and crushes him. It's like.
What is Suburban Sasquatch's kill count in this movie? It's got to be like...
It's really high.
30, 50?
30 to 50.
Yeah.
Maybe not 50, but
it's got to be. I mean, we haven't even talked about Big Zeke and the boys.
Wait, so when is the car scene?
This is right now, the hot dog lady.
Oh yeah, this is the real satirical part
let me clarify.
the movie.
Let me clarify which car scene I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guy who's fixing the car.
Okay, that's later.
Is that later?
That's
okay.
later.
Yeah, because what we see after the dog kill is the reporter takes a position that he's there for like 20 minutes of being on the grass, being like, "Where are you, God? Show me a sign."
Oh God, yeah, there's
scintillating stuff. Just
so much about
around
that.
A field,
and then it cuts to a woman chowing down on a hot dog in close up, and then intercut with Bigfoot eating people.
Really
like,
crunchy.
Are we one and the same?
Yeah,
man and Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that brilliant editing, you guys?
Who is the real monster?
I gotta say, that scene kind of made me want a hot dog.
Wait, we need to go into the color correction corner of April Atmansky. What do you think of the color correction on this movie, April?
I don't like it.
All right, well, that's
awful.
a no
and I
for
mean,
Suburban Sasquatch.
The day for night alone is worth a thumbs down.
So I think the only good one up to now is Fight of Fury.
No, I've had other good ones.
Okay.
I liked Matchstick.
Oh God, of all the movies,
try and give it a compliment here.
Why can't you just pick a real movie?
No. I only want to hear about the digital color correction. I don't care about like shot on film because that'll look good.
I'm talking about one that's like not color corrected by the director.
This whole scene is amazing.
This is so bizarre.
This is like Road Warrior.
It is. But it's like a Road Warrior if you never show anything outside of the car.
Something I noticed throughout this movie is the second any person sees the hint of someone else, they call the police.
Yeah. Because there's nobody else in the goddamn movie. I'd be terrified if I saw like an extra or something. It's like, who is that person?
Call the cops.
So they're driving around in their car and
eating hot dogs.
For some reason, they keep showing there's like a chandelier in the back.
They
that's
just
swinging.
went shopping. They went antiquing, I guess, because it definitely looks like an older chandelier.
Yeah, and then they go, let's go to the new suburban development.
She's showing her friend where I guess her house is going to be built, her new house.
Again, this is in broad daylight.
So is the idea supposed to be that like they're building a suburban development that has summoned the Sasquatch?
Yeah,
because there's not enough suburbia, though.
But you never see it. This scene is so weirdly shot in that it's always focused on the driver and her passenger, and you never really see anything outside of the car.
They're probably just driving around in a cul-de-sac.
So they spot something, I guess, the Suburban Sasquatch. They immediately call the police. And
now, is there a shot of Bigfoot like flying through frame? It passes by very quickly.
That's right. It's like a picture. It's like a JPEG, and it just blurs past camera like really fast. So they immediately call the cops, and then it's implied that they're being chased by the Sasquatch. Even though, again,
but it's not really
it's not staged like a chase.
Because they're like, they're freaking out.
So they're panicked, driving in a development in broad daylight, and they manage to get lost somehow.
Yeah, and the other woman is like, drive. She's like, I am driving. I am driving. I'm trying. I'm lost. I'm in this neighborhood that I seemingly have been to before, but I'm lost.
You never see any car or houses in the background. It just looks like they're driving around.
It's a new development, so it's kind of, I guess, in the middle of nowhere.
It looks like they're just driving in an empty field. Like, I don't know how you can get lost.
Yeah, they got lost.
It's like in a snowstorm, Collins. It's an empty field.
Forgot to animate some snow.
Which direction did I come from?
So Sasquatch teleports onto the roof of their car and starts attacking them. And again, the native lady shows up. We get CGI tomahawks, and then Suburban Sasquatch picks up a CGI log.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is like, okay.
Anytime he has to pick up and throw something, the movement is just so bad.
Yeah, anything. It's so weird.
It's so funny.
It's very badly like kind of hand tracked in, but what are you going to do? And then we get the big cop, clearly, he's looking at the picture of this girl earlier on. We get a flashback,
His poor
just
wife.
Another like Bigfoot attack. But it does have the advantage of him being like, whoa, and seeing the Bigfoot dropping 2 beers.
Yeah. Well, this guy is usually in the Bigfoot suit, or the Sasquatch suit, so we know he's not in the scene because he's in the scene.
Well, like intercuts. But the good thing about Sasquatch is he shows up, it's always like a big empty field, and he's constantly like walking very slowly towards, the characters. So they have a lot of time to kind of react and prepare, make dinner.
Yes,
lunch.
but his wife was like mesmerized by the Sasquatch powers.
It's like that scene from Holy Grail.
Where he's like, I'm coming.
When John Cleese, they just keep like the guards are watching John Cleese and he keeps running towards them, and it's just always the same shot over and over again, running across this field. It's really funny. So he like hypnotizes her, and then the husband runs into the house to get like a shotgun, which is conveniently right next to his bed or the door or something like that.
That's the way it is.
Runs out, wants to shoot the Bigfoot, but it doesn't do anything.
I think it stomps on his knee. Gives him a bad knee and then just like runs off with his girlfriend or something.
Well, as you mentioned, Justin, the Bigfoot is invulnerable to bullets, kind of like Batman.
It's
just like Batman.
It's his protective.
He's really the Batman of the early 2000s. He's the Suburban Sasquatch.
He's my Batman.
He's got the protective boobs on him. That plastic.
Yeah, that's right.
The plastic armor,
metal. So after this flashback sequence, the Arrow Woman and our hero reporter finally meet up and talk.
They team up, and this is a real. Anytime they're together on screen, it's horrible.
It's so.
It's
boring.
like just like any fun you maybe have just sucked right out.
It's like it's like he thinks he's Aaron Sorkin or something.
Yeah,
it's
they're just talking about life.
Let's just have like a walk and talk for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And this is the scene that you were talking about, April, where Bigfoot attacks the mechanics.
Yeah, I really like this scene. The guy.
And this scene is really good because Bigfoot, it looks like he's jumping and doing the Trinity kick from the Matrix. Because he like goes up and his arms come out. But then it looks like they left it too long and he's losing his balance because he's standing too high.
It looks like he's just standing on a tool. This is like a kind of shot they repeat throughout the movie where it's like the person is blocking the stool that Sasquatch is standing on to appear bigger.
I like that shot a lot.
So I don't know if it's like implying that he's growing or that.
So is this your favorite scene of the movie, April?
It's not. My favorite.
What do you think grows?
Coming up.
Is it his legs that grow? Like,
I don't know.
And he has like long legs. He's like stilt squatch.
Yeah,
stilt squatch. But this one is really good. I think this was the first Suburban Sasquatch scene I ever saw. It was in some clip compilation somewhere.
I think the fisherman scene was the one that I saw first.
Yeah, so doesn't he like pull off the mechanic's head or is it arms again?
It's probably arms.
He does
and
something
head.
Cool. I can't even remember. But no, my favorite scene is when Zeke and the boys attack.
This is coming up next.
Attack Sasquatch.
Yeah, so the cops realize they're outgunned. They have no manpower.
There's only 2 cops in the whole town.
In the whole town, that's it. Well, I mean, there's nobody in the town, so.
And they're working out of the local schools. So,
yeah, they come down on hard times.
Yeah, so they call up Big Zeke and the boys. I guess it's like these, I don't know.
It's like the little cops' friends.
Yeah.
I believe.
But what are they?
They're just like a bunch of hunters.
Guns for hire or something like
Weekend
that.
warriors, as you call them.
You know what, April? I have in my notes here what the mechanic, why it's so funny, is the Bigfoot rips a guy's leg off, and the guy goes, God damn it, before he beats him with it.
Yeah, that guy was good. That guy was funny. He's yelling at his friend, get the thing. No, I meant the other thing. And it was a funny scene.
Well, Big Zeke and the boys managed to corner Sasquatch
it's just a bunch of guys with shotguns
in a gigantic open field.
So of course, they're gonna win, right?
This is like a killing spree. This is fantastic.
And of course, they're just gonna run at him, and Bigfoot just slapping them with his hand.
Yeah, that's kind of his move.
The best shot is Bigfoot's on his apple box, and they all run up to him one at a time, and he just kind of pushes them aside.
Yeah, to the left and right.
It's like a Three Stooges.
It's like a Benny Hill skit.
Oh, it's so funny.
So he kills all of them.
This is where they net him. So they throw a practical net over him, and then they cut to a shot. It doesn't even look like the Sasquatch is in this shot. Like it just looks like a JPEG that they've cut out and stuck onto the field.
Like there's like 7 elements that have been added.
Like you were saying is that Sasquatch was not even there.
It doesn't even look like he's casting a shadow on the ground for some reason. It looks very fake.
So they put him and a fake net over him.
And a fake net, which is so...
The net is like breathing.
You know
what I mean?
It's like a CGI net, and I guess it's supposed to be moving because it's windy or something.
It's like when you see like really bad CGI water.
They shot it for real, but he didn't like how it looked.
Yeah, it didn't look
real. He wanted complete control
It's
over
like
it.
nets should be moving in the wind.
This is the thing. Wascavage, he went a little nuts with the computer graphics.
Yeah.
And I think he was like, I can make this look better. I can make this look better.
It's like, David, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. So he kills them one at a time. One guy, he gets his throat and he's like, ugh. And so they end up all... He brings their bodies somewhere because the little cop discovers them.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And this scene is also hilarious because he starts to vomit and he's just fake vomiting at first. And I'm like, there's not even anything coming out. And then they cut to him puking something up.
Oh, we skipped over too that during Zeke's the killing spree of Zeke and the boys, there's a shot of a guy pissing himself.
Oh yeah. And they actually...
You think he did that with CG effects?
No.
I bet he did.
No, because I know they didn't. Because in the credits, the end credits, there is a practical effects guy that is specifically credited for the peeing the pants scene.
Yeah, it was urination scene
it's
or
something. Something
so good.
For blood spray and a pants wetting scene.
Yeah, that's right. But when he discovers his friend's all dead, he has this freak out, and the other cop is there, and it gets all serious. I can't remember what he says, but he's like, "It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much." He's losing it, and it was really funny.
And then they go, and this is another attack, but it just starts out. It's like this old lady, I don't know, knitting or something, and just a man with a bottle of booze just dancing in the living room.
I love it. And I wasn't sure, is this woman his mother?
His wife?
It's really not clear.
Yeah, there's no context for any of this.
I mean, you've done that, right, April? Just sitting in a room knitting as Colin just
I'm just dancing
Probably
around.
more the other way around.
Holding a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And then he seems really annoyed. The Sasquatch attacks, and then they're like,
oh, it's really good too, where he bursts through the window, and then the guy's like, "I'm gonna go open the door." Yeah.
But the guy seems really annoyed that his dancing has been interrupted, and he has to go outside. So then the cops show up, and then all of a sudden it's nighttime or something, and then I guess they have a gas tank outside.
I guess.
Well, I mean, that's what they shoot, and it explodes.
Yeah, but the cop says, "Ashes to ashes, you fucking monster!"
Yeah.
And he shoots the thing, and a CGI explosion.
A cute explosion.
Doesn't hurt Bigfoot, nor does it hurt the cop.
No, everybody's fine.
It ends up being a tiny explosion when it should have been giant.
Yeah, I think the journalist is injured in this point. I think he's dead. And then,
oh yeah, he gets attacked by the Bigfoot because the Arrow Woman heals him in her tent.
Yeah,
with some herbs and spices.
Yeah, it's sort
medicinal
of
herbs.
It looks like little tea bags or something, or
She literally sprinkles 3 flowers on him.
It's catnip or something that she puts on him,
and it heals him.
She has been living in this white tent that they kind of have shown a few times up to this point. I don't know. It doesn't look like very native. It just looks like something you bought at
She's camping.
Camping store.
Yeah. Are you saying it's supposed to be a teepee or something like that?
She makes it disappear at the end of the movie.
Yes. Well, I guess she also has magical Sasquatch powers. I don't know.
She is also a Sasquatch. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that would make more sense. She should have been the Sasquatch is actually... we're descended from them or something
I don't know.
like that.
It seems like, her people have been fighting this creature throughout history or whatever.
What is the Sasquatch's goal?
I don't know.
Just killing people?
I think it's just eating people. It's hungry.
Eating hearts and ripping arms.
Yeah, and breaking
and beating
hearts.
people with those arms.
He's like MacGruber. He wants to just rip some throats.
I think one of my favorite gore gags is when Bigfoot stomps on someone's head, but the head doesn't crush, but blood shoots out.
CGI blood, and then you hear that crunching sound.
Yeah.
The journalist is revived in the tent. She sprinkles catnip on him.
And at this point, you're like, I can't wait to see how big the climax of this movie is going to be. How will they top the previous scene?
They talk for so fucking long, and this is at the point where I realized I hadn't seen this movie before. I'm like, Jesus Christ. This goes on forever as they kind of walk and talk through the forest.
Maybe you just kind of erased it from your mind.
I think so.
A day from now, you'll forget it as well.
I probably just had my iPad and I was just surfing the net at this point. Like, ugh, what's the weather like outside? Well, the big climax, you remember Grandma from earlier. We get a Sasquatch attack at Grandma's house.
And Bigfoot crashes through the door,
which
all CGI.
Yeah, CGI.
I don't know. Maybe you'd have to go frame by frame to really find it out.
I think it's CGI. They're not going to do any damage to Grandma's house.
No, they don't want to do damage to anything.
I think you can see the actual door that's just been opened, and it's like, tucked against the wall, sort of thing. And then they just put the CGI door over it. But yeah.
And then we get the big, gigantic climax in the living room of Grandma's house.
Yeah, he's attacking, he's flipping doilies over. He's knocking over her teacups.
I do love a grandma's house in a movie.
Yeah. So then, native lady and journalist come in.
Hang on, isn't there some lasers in this scene, or am I remembering incorrectly?
I can't remember.
Doesn't Sasquatch shoot a laser out of its eyes?
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised.
Does anyone remember that?
No, I don't remember.
Not really.
Okay, I might be thinking
Let's
of a different
say yes.
movie.
So yeah, he picks up.
I was just in an orgasmic Bigfoot funk at this point.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, too much Bigfoot.
He grabs native lady in like a bear hug or a Sasquatch hug, and then she's like yelling at the guy. The journalist picks up her bow and arrow, and she's like, "You got to shoot it in the heart." And we have a great shot. It's like it's like a Sam Raimi shot from like behind the arrow as it travels right.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, it gets like Sasquatch in the heart. I think he blows up. Maybe this is the lasers you're thinking of. It's like an energy beams or something. I don't know. But the native lady dies, unfortunately. So he drags her corpse.
Yes,
this is turning into like Pet Cemetery or something.
I don't know if she died, but
she dies, and then he brings her back to the tent, and then he's like going through all of her tea bags and like
he revives
herbs.
her,
and he's like, "Which one do I use? You got to help me." And
that's literally how he talks. Like he can't act for shit.
They just grab some stuff and just sprinkles it over her. She's okay. She's fine.
She's
she
okay,
comes back.
guys.
She's like, I'm back. And I'm like, is there another Bigfoot climax after that? That couldn't have been it. No, it's it. That's over. Roll credits. Which, I know everyone's been waiting with bated breath. This is my favorite part of the whole movie.
The end song?
No, the end credits. You have never seen the name of one person be repeated more times.
I mean, don't forget the song, though. It's David Wascavich's mom.
Grandma.
Well, his mom in real life.
Yeah, the grandma in the movie. I'm like, God, this sounds like the grandma. She's like singing this song.
Like, it sounds like that.
It's amazing.
It's odd choice.
Yeah.
So every piece of uniform design, construction... It's all credited mostly to Dave Wascavage. Policeman uniform design and construction, Dave Wascavage. And these credits are so broken apart.
Yeah.
Like there's gigantic gaps between each credit.
You would think
it's like a full moon film.
You got to pad it out because you have to play that song in its entirety.
Yeah, maybe that was why. I was going to say, why does every bad filmmaker always have the same credits? Like, you think they would be trying to hide that they did everything.
Well, Neil Breen, even he kind of broke it up and made like fake names with N and B.
And then at the end, he has to admit that it was all him.
Any name that begins with N and has a B in it is actually Neil Breen.
Yeah, but like... maybe they're proud of it. Like, I did it all, you guys. It was all me.
Well, what are you going to do? Use make up names?
Yeah. That's what Neil Breen did.
Oh.
Or just don't credit everything. How about that? You don't have to credit,
just put
police uniforms made by.
We
can just assume.
You know what would be the best is we just like has his name once, but then it has every single thing that he did.
It's just a huge wall of text of all
produced
the
by,
things that
written
he did.
by, directed by, costumes.
That'd be pretty funny.
It was done by David Wascavage.
Yeah,
and then you have one other person credited for the pants wedding.
But how do we know who did the set construction cave interior? It's not Dave Wascavage.
The Glad Garbage Man.
Yeah, it's like anything that's bad, it was him.
And then the only other credit is the pants wedding guy.
He brought in one guy who's an expert
on pants wedding. Okay, I'm going to drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
So it ends with Bigfoot is real, and then this has been a presentation of Dave Wascavage production. Copyright 2004, Dave Wascavage, all rights reserved.
Yep.
Just in case you
Special
didn't know.
thanks, David Wascavage.
Dave Wascavage.
Yeah, he thanks himself. But, well, you know what, Mr. Wascavage? I liked this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
I gotta say though, Fungicide was a little funner.
More fun. I couldn't believe it because I'd only ever seen Suburban Sasquatch, and then when I saw Fungicide, I was like, wait a minute. So he actually got worse his career went on.
This movie would be great to play with friends because you can just talk during the boring scenes and then look at the TV during the attack
the
scenes.
many kills.
But Fungicide demands your full attention.
Exactly.
It does.
Yeah.
At least it's more fun. It knows what it is. It's like
CGI,
a comedy.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm definitely glad that I saw this apparently all the way through for the first time.
Yeah.
I guess I hadn't, even though I felt like I had, but I honestly can't remember. I never logged it on Letterboxd, so it's possible. Although I only got Letterboxd.
I don't remember the fight at grandma's house.
No.
Or all the talking that they do. Jesus.
Justin, have you ever seen this either with a group of people or in a theater?
Oh yeah, my friend Adam the Riot Thorn showed me this movie like 10 years ago. So, and I remember because I also got one of those 50 movie packs that has it on it. I was like, Suburban Sasquatch, which also had Kill Them and Eat Them, the Connell Pendergast movie that was released by Gold Ninja Video.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Yeah, so
there you
Gold
go.
Ninja Video also had some of those 50 movie pack movies.
Nice. You're getting all the good stuff. Okay, well, thank you, Dylan, I believe is the name of the patron. Thank you for recommending this movie. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it's
a little
fun.
too long.
It's a
but
classic.
Still a good time. Speaking of movies that are a little too long, on the Patreon this week.
Hey, write us an iTunes review as well. We never ask for this, but every other podcast we listen to always demand it 3 times an episode.
Yes,
so
if you can, write us a review on iTunes because it helps out the podcast.
Hit that subscribe button and like the video.
If you want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie.
And check out TeePublic for all of our tea. No, we don't have any of those.
Not yet.
What would we have?
Okay, let me talk about the Patreon. We have our $5 level. You get a bonus episode every 2 weeks, and we just recorded one that will be out
Next week?
this Friday. This Friday on The Batman. So we have lots of thoughts on that. So check that out if you want to hear that. And if you want to find us, we're on Twitter at No Such Thing Pod, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at April at Mansky.
I'm Justin DeClue. You can check me out on Letterboxd at DeCluJ, DECLOUX, and then the letter J, or on... Wait, that's my Twitter. My Letterboxd is just my name, Justin DeClue. I'm getting lost.
Too many things.
Too many things.
Too many Sasquatches attached, so my mind is just reeling.
I'm on Twitter, Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA. I've got a letterbox, but I forget what it is.
Whoa! I'm just looking at our iTunes reviews now, and we finally got a review of someone saying we're too politically correct.
What? That must be a new one.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
I felt like I checked.
The show is supposedly a celebration of bad movies. Then the crew starts puking political correctness and judgment onto stupid comedies from the 80s.
What?
Hint, the political incorrectness and ridiculousness of those movies is what we like about them.
What?
No amount of nasally up-talking or preachy commentary will change that. Unsubscribe.
No, you're kidding.
Sounds like a fake review.
Love it.
That's a review?
What's the date? Does it say?
It was in December of 2021.
Oh yeah, so that's new.
What movie could that have been?
Probably like
80s
Ford
comedies
Fairlane,
did we
maybe.
do?
What?
Which one?
Ford Fairlane.
Ford Fairlane? We liked Ford Fairlane.
Oh, I know.
Oh, is he like an Andrew Dice Clay head? That
Maybe.
he's like...
Somebody on the someone had a negative comment on the Ford Fairlane on YouTube saying that we didn't give it the respect or the attention it deserved, and we skipped over some scenes. And I was like,
Who cares?
That's like one of our longest episodes.
Signed AWK.
Yeah, but we liked that movie.
We love that movie.
We like that movie.
I don't understand.
Hell, no such thing. And maybe if we have some criticisms about a movie, it doesn't mean we don't love it.
That's so bizarre.
Anyway, that's it for this week.
Politically correct.
Well, I think it's just being like, you know, if we say like, oh, that's real noxious or something like that, looking back, that's what they mean.
Or whatever. Okay. Like
Yeah.
like gay slur. Oh,
Yeah,
blah blah
exactly.
blah. It's like
yeah.
this guy's probably like 80 years old, and he's like, why can't we say the N word?
Did he give us 1 star on iTunes?
He gave us 2, so he was pretty generous.
Okay.
We'll take it. Anyway,
Hey, come
thanks
on,
for-
we gotta you give us like some 5 stars.
Yeah.
We only 5 stars. Don't rate anything low. Oh, you know what? what? Is it because Jerky Boys? That's all I'm looking
I
at.
also
maybe.
loved the Jerky Boys, and it's not from the
You
80s.
love the
It's
Jerky
not from
Boys.
the 80s. The movie. The movie.
I don't know.
Is it not?
We don't really do 80s movies that often.
That's weird.
Who knows?
Was he
This is gonna bug me.
taking care of business fan?
It could have been a taking care of business, yeah.
Maybe.
The Belushi movie.
But why would it bug you, Colin? Because at the end of the day, all it could be is that, like we said, that something like didn't age well.
No,
right?
yeah, all it's going to be is just the mystery, you know.
I'm not gonna.
the mystery
It's just like, what could it have been?
If something didn't age well, I'm not gonna say that's great. Like I'm gonna point out that I think that it didn't age well.
Times have changed, you know,
Anyway.
whatever. Back in the day, nobody cared about that shit. So
I'm looking at the 80s stuff, and it's because we always like it. It's like Hudson Hawk, and that's 90s. Clifford, that's 90s. We don't do that much 80s stuff.
I don't know. That's weird. Whatever.
Maybe we got to do more. Okay.
Maybe and it turns out he just reviewed the wrong podcast. He was like talking about some other podcast.
He's talking about.
No, they're just bad people out there. Or not bad people.
People with bad taste.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, let's wrap up. That's it for this week. I'm April Atmansky.
I'm Justin McLuhan.
Ah,
Bigfoot!
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.